Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Brent Colbert, veteran police officer, doctoral student in leadership. We'll learn from him about about decision making, resilience, and training others to lead under pressure. Welcome to the show, Brent.
Awesome. Thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Brent. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk about. We'll learn about a lot of things about leadership and all from. But before that, let's learn a bit about your story, your background, your journey, so that people know who they are listening to.
Absolutely. I have been a police officer in the United States for 10 years. I've been a supervisor in several different agencies, and I'm currently responsible for the training of about 150 sworn officers for a Native American tribal agency in Oklahoma. I have started my doctoral process to get my doctoral degree in strategic leadership. And so I have about a year left on that. And I recently just got certified to become a career and life coach as well. So I've got a lot on my plate lately, but I'm here to help others.
Right, right. So you talk about training. You talk about that you have a passion for training leadership and just being a good natured person. That's what you call. So I'm talking about your why do you think a leadership training is required in today's time? Everyone is a leader. People say everyone can be a leader. Lots of leaders floating around. People with a bit of degree, people from a good management institute, they consider themselves leaders. So what is it that you are teaching that these guys do not know?
Yeah, so I think you made a very good point in that anybody can be a leader. Far too often we just fall back on who they put in as a manager in a leadership role and think that automatically they are the most talented or the maybe the most knowledgeable person, and that's not always the case. So I think it's very important in today's climate for people to be properly trained and to get as much education as they can possible about their career field, so that way they can be a natural leader and not rely on just people who are put into those positions. Because unfortunately, we know how the world works, and it's not always going to be the best person in leadership roles. But what you can control is you being the best leader. And a lot of times that starts with someone taking the time to be a positive reinforcement to that person. And that gets them on the journey to becoming a good leader.
Absolutely. So, Brent, you see, where is the problem in leadership? You yourself say that you have encountered countless terrible leadership encounters over a 10-year police career. What does? Can you help us understand that? In a police force which is so trained, well trained, so much of funds are there, so many people are involved, institutions, it's an institution in itself. Still, there is a problem. What about people which places which are a bit wobbly? Then it will be disastrous. So help us understand from that point of view, and what is it that you are doing to correct that?
Yeah, absolutely. In the United States, and I'm sure in India as well, the police force is very paramilitaristic. They take a lot of how they operate from the military, and unfortunately, I've had supervisors that have not mastered the power of communication, and I think once we reach adulthood, we realize that we don't want people talking down to us or talking to us in a demeaning manner. Um, and unfortunately, a lot of leaders forget that and they lose their cool and they start talking to you in a way that they wouldn't talk to anybody else. And unfortunately, I've had that happen several times throughout my career. And what that does is when somebody talks to you like that, you instantly lose credibility as a leader moving forward in that person's eyes. And you have to earn that back. And unfortunately, the people that have done it to me, they really never realized that they had done that, and so they were never able to gain that respect back in my eyes. And so that put me on the path to becoming a person that treats people with respect first and foremost. And when you get put in those leadership positions, work with your people and say, "Hey, how can I make you a better person?" Because at the end of the day, you want people to be able to replace you when it's time for you to retire or move into a new role. And so you have to properly train those people. You have to teach them how to lead. You have to teach them how to get the education, the training. And so it's really a mentorship slash coaching role as a leader to help grow that next generation of leaders plus the people beneath you.
Absolutely. So, Brent, why do people let it happen? There are some supervisors, they also have supervisors, they have supervisors, they have supervisors, and then there are many other supervisors on top of one another. That means people are overseeing each other's work. People are looking whether their subordinates are working properly. It cannot just go down to the person. All the problems cannot go down to the person at the lowest rung, of the ladder. So I want to understand, why do people, even just for example, even in the police force that you worked in, why did they let it happen? Isn't responsibility? I thought in the US there is a lot of accountability, responsibility, and there are systems in places. It's not a banana republic. So I'm just trying to understand, why does it happen? Or is it, everybody sees more brotherhood in just letting, putting things under the carpet? Help us understand from that point of view. Then where should a general citizen expect, right kind of policing, right kind of leadership, right kind of outcome for themselves, redressal of their grievances?
Unfortunately, for a long time, it seems like those type of activities were allowed by the higher ups in a lot of leadership at different police agencies. They would just look the other way when people would talk down to other employees or just treat them with a total lack of respect. And what that leads to is that leads to them treating the citizens with a lack of respect. And that is not acceptable in today's law enforcement climate. Absolutely not. Um, the citizens are very much just like in a business role, they are our customers. And at the end of the day, you should want to help them and treat them with respect, because when they call 911 or call to, get police, fire, and ambulance, that is that person's time of need. And they want a person that shows up that is appropriately trained and will treat them with kindness and empathy in their moment of need. And so that is my mission, is to change that culture that started coming into effect over the last 30 to 40 years of looking the other way. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you're a police officer or whatever position you're in. If you're doing the wrong thing, that is not acceptable. And I'm going to call you out on it. And, we have to start doing a better job of policing ourselves to help these citizens. And, sometimes I catch a flack from my own people. But at the end of the day, I'm here to serve the citizens, not other police officers.
Absolutely. So what are you doing in this regard? How has all these things affected the police and citizen relationship? Has it gone to a place where it cannot be corrected, or it will need too much of an effort that will be need thousands of Brent Colbert down there to make the right kind of environment for the public?
Unfortunately, I think it really just depends on where you're at in the country right now. A lot of bigger cities, that trust is gone. But, I live in a rural state that only has a few maybe metropolitan areas of maybe a couple 100,000. And in our state, we still have that respect because for the most part, we all do our job the right way. But you see in these bigger cities that are like Los Angeles and New York, you see all these negative stories that come out about the police. And so I think that you're really going to have to see people change within their own each organization in these bigger cities as well to be able to bring about that change of getting that public's trust back. Um, and so the only thing I can do, unfortunately, because I'm just one person, is I can change my organization and make sure that they're going to be doing things the right way. And luckily, I have a good administration that is all about serving our citizens, and they want us to do it the right way. And so we are blessed to be able to help our citizens the right way. And we've got their trust, and they support us in pretty much everything that we do. And I want to spread that message through avenues like yourself to other agencies that may hear this or other citizens. And when those citizens hear that these agencies are doing it the right way, demand it from your local agencies to do the same thing, because they are there to serve you at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, what is it that you are doing on the ground? And I see this whole banner, the first responder playbook. Tell us also about that. So, both from that police side training, what you are doing, how exactly you are bringing that change on, on the leadership side, so that there is a better atmosphere of policing everywhere, especially in the part of the world that you are in, and also in terms of the first responder playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been we are required every year to get a certain amount of continuing education just in our general jobs every year. And so I am trying to build out different leadership classes to bring in new leadership ideas to these officers so that they can start preparing the next generation of leaders in these agencies. And, I'm also trying to implement a lot of community policing events. Uh, so, we try to give back during Christmas time, or, we try to give back during certain points of the year when summer starts and do community events like we'll do a cookout and try to like break in a new splash pad with the kids, because people want to see these officers out making sure everybody's safe. And that's the best way to do it is, you get involved in your community. They look as you as part of your community at that point. And, education, that's why I started the first responder playbook, because people often see the negative things on TV. And so I bring in these stories of new training ideas, of things that have happened on the job, of events like different corruption events, to bring these ideas out so that people can see them and see the good stories or the things that do need to be changed. I recently had a guest on my show that her father was a LAPD police detective, and he was killed during the line of duty when she was 16 years old. And you think about that, for a 16-year-old, that is a thing that is just a traumatizing event. And I wanted to bring her onto my podcast so that way, when if something like that does happen to somebody that's seen my show, they can empathize with these children during these traumatic events. I recently just had a gentleman on that is a world renowned police trainer, and he went through a lot of different ways of like identifying clues of somebody may be armed, or how to train people, and he breaks those down so that way other new trainers or new police officers can see that and say, okay, I know how to do this now. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to end up making the news. I'm not going to put these bad headlines out here. And so even if I just reach one person, that's one more person that I can help change the world. And I think you would appreciate that as someone with the podcast, in that we're spreading a message of change to help people. And that's the whole reason I'm here doing a podcast, is because I want to help people at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely, Brent. So, if we look at it from the police side, what is it that they have that has forced them to make this change in themselves? Is it the internal pressures? Is it the political pressure? Is it that public pressure? I don't know. What is it that they are too much under scrutiny? Say, they just help us understand from their point of view. What is it that they want to tell the public about what they are going through?
So I think there was a lot of change due to political and public pressure. Unfortunately, when things like that happen, though, they start trying to completely change the system instead of just fixing the problem. And so instead of just, maybe retraining the police or, giving them resources to get involved in the community, they started going with these defund the police and stuff like that. And all that does is that leads to society in chaos. But what they really need to do is if things are not going correctly with the police force, they need to train them. They need to reinvest money into getting involved in communities and to be able to help the citizens. There are a lot of officers out here like myself that want to do the right thing every day and show up to work to help people. That is my goal when I go to work is to help people, whether it be another officer, whether it be a citizen. And there are more people out there that want to help people than want to ever do the wrong thing in this job. But unfortunately, in today's climate, the one that does the wrong is the one that gets more publicity. And so my goal is to help change that image of police and saying, "Hey, look, they did something bad." No, we've done 20 things that have been good in that same time frame that people don't know about. And so I want to get that message of positivity back out there to help change that culture of, well, they're out there doing bad things because that's not the case. Every day there's officers out there doing great things. And it doesn't matter if you're in the United States or if you're in India, there are people out there serving the public daily doing the right thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm curious to understand one thing. You talk about paranormal. Why, as a police officer, how did that come into your talks? Help us understand. Is there any incident that we can learn that okay, you have come across anything like that? Because if someone says in a small place, we could understand, but someone in a place like the US talks about it, then one will sit up and listen.
So everybody kind of laughs when I say that. Um, but in every culture, there are these paranormal stories, either ghosts or maybe like a Bigfoot or a Yeti, aliens. I have seen a UFO one night. I'm not saying it was aliens, but I did see something that I couldn't explain in the sky. I've had a ghost experience where they slammed the door in an old police department one night, and I was the only person in there, and it was a big, heavy wooden door. But here's the thing: I don't necessarily know what either one of those were. I can't say that they were aliens. I can't say that they were ghosts. What I can say is I don't understand what happened to cause those situations. The police officer inside of me wants to find the evidence to solve why those happened. And so I don't necessarily say that, oh my God, I saw a ghost or I saw a UFO. I just saw something I can't explain. And I think that in all honesty, there's so much out there in the world and space that we don't understand still to this day. And I think it's a fun topic to talk about at the end of the day. So I will always, if anybody ever wants to talk about the paranormal, I'll gladly listen because I love it.
Absolutely. And a lot of people are talking. What does a police officer do? Or has it ever happened to you that someone from the public has come with something, something of this sort, about a different sort of an activity? What have you ever gone and investigated it because there was a complaint about it? Or is it, or even if it was not, what does a police officer do in such a case?
I'm sorry, I think I lost you there for a second.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I think it really depends on the police officer. I wish I had a good answer for you, but here's what I can tell you. I do know an officer that got called to somebody thinking a Bigfoot was knocking on their back of their house. Um, he treated it like it was seriously because they lived in a very rural area, and in their culture, they believe in Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. and they treated that like it was, again, that it was that person's time of need, and they showed up and handled it just how they should have. He went out there and looked around and didn't see anything, but it made the person feel better at the end of the day, and that's what we're there to do. And so I think in those type of situations, you really have to show up and treat that person with respect and ask how you can help them. What can I do to help you make this situation better? There's not really a one size fits all on that type of thing, but just remember to have a service mindset of I'm here to help this person. And that's the best way to handle things.
Absolutely. There's much to learn about all this from you, Brent. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you. A lot of police officers would want to connect with you. Organizations would want to connect with you and learn about what you are doing and trying to achieve. Also, learn from your podcast. What's the best way for them to do so, Brent?
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to tell them. Um, it is pretty much on every social media: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. It's the First Responder Playbook, RESPONDER, and then Playbook. And then, if anybody ever needs life or career coaching, I've got a Facebook page called Coach BC, the letter B and C. And at the end of the day, your viewers, I would love to have police, non-police, everybody check it out because there's a lot of good information out there. And I would welcome everybody checking it out because we can always keep learning. Doesn't matter what the career is. We can learn something and help other people out.
Absolutely, absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.